Hey, if you're releasing a new product or you have existing products and SKUs that you've run out of stock in, what do? You might have considered taking pre-orders. And in this video, I'm going to walk through 6 simple steps that you can take to set up a good pre-order pipeline so that you don't have any downtime with your sales and you're going to consistently be able to keep selling until you are back in stock. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Khierstyn, and if you are new to this channel, we help you with practical tips and regular videos to help you launch and scale your e-commerce brand off of Amazon. So if that's something you're into, be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell so that you don't miss another episode. All right, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Aditya Mittal, who actually is the reason this video exists. He put a comment down in a previous video asking me to create some content around how to create a good pre-order pipeline. And so thank you for that. I want to give credit where credit is due. And if you have a question or you want to be featured in one of our upcoming videos, be sure to drop your question below. And if we like it, we might just do a video to cover that exact topic that you have. So step number 1, we have pre-frame. So before we get into pre-orders, of course you're thinking, oh, pre-orders are so good for me because I get to keep selling, which will help actually fund the inventory, make sure that I have no downtime. But let's actually take a look at what happens to a customer and what would get them to be comfortable pre-ordering your product when they're not going to get it for a few weeks. And so the pre-frame is actually a term coined by Robert Cialdini on really looking at the psychological state or the state that someone has or the thoughts they have before they go into an offer or a situation. And so when we look at taking pre-orders, number 1 reason why pre-orders will fail is because we as business owners and product sellers don't end up actually making it a worthwhile endeavor for the customer to pre-order the product. The reality is that when someone is pre-ordering your product, especially on a new business that doesn't have a lot of reviews and is just getting started, you're asking the customer to make a pretty big risk. And so one big thing that we want to have in point number 1 is setting up your offer correctly by putting yourself in the customer's shoes and thinking, okay, what are some things that I need to include on the sales page or the website or even in my offer to make this a worthwhile heck yes for somebody to take a risk and pre-order your product. Very commonly, you'll see this used in the Kickstarter space, and we want to borrow that and use it on your own website. So when you're doing a pre-order campaign, I recommend you do one of 2 things. You either reduce the price so that if your regular price is $100, give your pre-order backers or customers a good enough discount that they warrant buying now versus later, number 1. So you may do 30% off. If you, because of margins, don't want to be deeply discounting your product, another thing you could do is offer to throw in a free gift. We had one of our past clients in the beard space actually do this and this was kind of an accident, when they had delays on a Kickstarter campaign. They ended up delighting their backers so that when they announced delays, they actually threw in free product with that. And because of that, people felt really good about receiving bad news. So if you're doing a pre-order, is there something you could do where you can do a limited time pre-order bundle where you throw in a free gift or something like that to make it worthwhile for somebody to buy now versus wait until you're back in stock? So that's point number 1, is making sure that you make it worthwhile by setting up your offer. Point number 2 would be have one spot online where people are able to pre-order your product. So this is going to be actually setting up your storefront. For pre-orders, we recommend that you use Shopify because if you're just getting started, Shopify is a very great and easy to use interface and pretty affordable to get up and going, and it scales with you. So you don't need a bunch of custom code or anything like that. And if you would like a free 14-day trial to ClickFunnels, be sure to check out the link below and go from there to get started. But the purpose of point number 2 is really to be available to sell online. So when you're setting up your storefront, we are going to be covering in future videos actually step-by-step training on how to get started on Shopify, but have somewhere online where people can go, and then be sure to include that link in your bio online wherever you're advertising. So whether that is a link in your bio on TikTok, Instagram, paid social, etc., which we'll get into later in this video, be sure to have one spot online where you send people where they're able to have those orders take place. Point number 3. This is counterintuitive, but even when a customer pre-orders a product, we have to assume that the average consumer doesn't need that well. And so because of that, you have to be explicit in your communication. Learn this from the Kickstarter world, where if you don't overly communicate the status of orders and fulfillment and when people are getting things, they will amass against you and think that you've stolen their money. So it's super important when you are taking pre-orders from a customer to set up your communication strategy literally on your website and in follow-up emails and shipping updates, that you make it very clear that it is pre-order and what that means. When we create a communication schedule, there's a few things you want to have. You first want to explicitly state on your website that it is pre-order now. You could do this with, on your product page, having the term pre-order now on the call to action button. Number 2, what you can do is underneath the call to action button, have a approximate delivery date so that they know, hey, it ships in 4 to 6 weeks, okay? 2 things I would do. The follow-up I would do is they won't get an automatic fulfillment email because they wouldn't be they wouldn't go into the fulfillment queue if you're doing pre-orders. Then when you have a follow-up email, you want to reiterate that it is pre-order and what to expect moving forward. The next thing I would do, depending on how long you have for a customer to wait, over communication is better than nothing, even if you have no news to report. So when a customer gets a follow-up email, you want to commit to a regular communication pattern to say, hey, you will receive production updates from us every 2 weeks, and then you stick to that. And then what you want to do to any pre-orders you have is be sure that along with the marketing emails that you're sending, that you literally send fulfillment updates. And if you are looking for some inspiration on what those look like, check out Kickstarter.com. Go to any campaign, check out their updates and what they're doing to actually keep their backers informed. And when you do that, I love modeling Kickstarter because Kickstarter is really the platform for pre-orders, and I think that the creators have done a really good job. The creators have done a super awesome job to keep their backers informed so that there are no refunds or chargebacks or unhappy customers. So be sure to check out Kickstarter.com if you're not sure what production updates can look like. But in summary, point number 3 matters so much because if you start to lose the trust of your pre-order customers, they will ask for refunds. They will do chargebacks on their credit card, which means they will call their credit card company and say, hey, this is a fraudulent transaction. This is really bad because you need to keep your payment processor in good health and good relationship with you, and any strikes against your account, they can actually lock you out. And no one wants to be banned from PayPal or Stripe or Shopify payments where you can't even use those platforms anymore. So be sure to keep it in good health, and it all comes down to over communicating. Most customers are very okay with pre-orders as long as they feel like you are taking care of them. Okay, so far we've talked about how to set up the offer so that people think they're ready and it's a good offer to buy now in pre-orders. We've talked about setting up a storefront online so that you have a place to send people when you do your marketing. And we've talked about how to keep your pre-order customers happy through a consistent communication schedule. The next thing is, how do you actually get the pipeline going? How do you start to get some consistent sales? That's where we talk about point number 4 is consistent marketing efforts. Having consistent marketing efforts means that you don't just want to do 1 hour a week that turns into 1 hour a month. You want to commit to 3 to 5 things that you want to do every day, whether that's you're posting once on social media, you're reaching out to 1 influencer a day, and you're pitching yourself for 1 podcast, and every week you send 1 email to your list. Whatever those things are, you want to commit to doing them consistently, every day, weekly, because your results are going to compound. There's a really great book on this. If you haven't read it already, it's Atomic Habits by James Clear. He talks about the power of 1% changes every single day. It may not sound like a lot to just post once a day on social media, but over the course of 30 days, you've done 30 posts. Over the course of a year, you've done 365 posts. And so with the right strategy, with the right blueprint, you're able to make massive changes. And if you're looking for more resources on how to do that, be sure to check out some of our freebies below as we outline how to actually get you to start this process of marketing your business. All right, so from step 4 with consistent marketing, we go into the last 2 points, talks about how to actually market yourself, how to find your target customer, and how to get orders. So point number 5 is organic marketing. So we want to start with the low-hanging fruit, the free or the inexpensive ways to do it. Organic marketing is definitely slower, but I feel that it is the best place to start. So when we look at organic marketing, we want to look at things such as identifying who your target customer is, going into Facebook groups and starting to network with them, maybe starting your own Facebook group. One of our students within 3 weeks already has a Facebook group of over 100 people organically and has received a few sales from that Facebook group already, which is excellent. You, on the organic side, can pitch influencers and send product to them. There are different things you can do, and even friends and family. So there are different things you can do that are inexpensive or don't cost a lot of money, where you're able to start testing your offer and starting to spread the word without having to spend any money. Point number 6 comes to the point where you have proof of concept, you've received some interest, you've talked to your target market, you feel fairly confident, and then what you do is you want to put some paid advertising behind that. And paid advertising is going to be the fuel that you put on the fire to help you get to that next level. When you send paid traffic to your website, the platforms that we recommend that are tested and true right now are Facebook ads. And the one to really watch out for, which I'll be talking a little bit more on this channel in the future, TikTok advertising. But in the beginning, I wanted to clarify what paid ads, what is that? Because there's so many platforms you could do, but which ones do you start with? So the best one for pre-order campaigns is going to be Facebook. That is tried, tested, and true. Once you are in market, have a bit of social proof, then that's when Google advertising can come into effect. But in the very beginning, when you're doing pre-orders, stick to Facebook. And if you have a bit of an experimental budget or you have a bit of a presence already on TikTok, start testing TikTok ads. Okay. The reason why Facebook and TikTok are the two that I would recommend is because they both target people based off interest. So you can create an interest profile. If you have a product for women who are going through menopause, on Facebook and TikTok, you can literally target people who follow women over the age of 45 that follow certain brands or have certain interests. And you can build a demographic profile to help target those people. Whereas the reason why Google isn't a good place to start is because with Google, you have to do search based on keywords. And so with that, Google is more of a high intent platform, which means that someone who's Googling something has a pain and they want a solution right away. So they're ready to buy something that they can get then. And so pre-orders typically don't work on Google that well because it's more of a high intent based platform versus one based on building demographic profiles such as Facebook and TikTok. So just like that, if you would like more training or more videos covered on any of those topics, let me know below. In summary, pre-orders are an amazing way to keep selling if you're out of stock so you don't have any downtime between orders, or can also be an amazing way to test a new product idea or test who your target customer is with the right strategy. And apart from that, if you are looking for help on doing any of those things, we've got a ton of free resources below this video, so be sure to check it out. And apart from that, thank you for subscribing. Oh, you haven't subscribed? Well, thank you for subscribing. I'll see you in the next video.